Hi everyone, this is Frank DeMora again with the End Times Research Ministry and offering you my free book as the latest update of my book. As you can see, was January the 29th, 2013, and today I'm going to give a few videos, and the first one will be on diseases. And diseases is not just diseases, they are in fact, as you can see on the title here, a warning from Christ. And the Lord did tell us in many places in the scriptures, but I'm going to show you one right here in Matthew chapter 24, verse 7, where he gives us many different signs. One of the signs you'll see listed here is the sign of pestilence or disease. Now, I've been showing you some of the new diseases that are popping up recently, and in my book, I give you an outline of as many diseases as have I been able to accumulate over the years, showing you the different diseases that are popping up in each year. And they are definitely becoming more intense, and they're more mystery diseases that the doctors know very little bit about. So let me go over to the first news source today and click on to that. And as you see here, this is the 31st today. So it says the swine flu. 4 Israelis are hospitalized. Now, last week, or the beginning of this week actually, we saw more news about the new flu, 2 types of flu. One that's affecting infants, that is killing the infants, and there's no cure for that. And then there's this other flu that's been spreading around the United States and also in different nations as well. But this particular one now is hit in Israel. It says 4 Israelis who have contracted the swine flu are presently in critical condition in Israeli hospitals. A 32-year-old man is on a respirator, and this is very common when you get this kind of flu. Especially common if you're older or if you're younger. It affects the people in these age categories. You could see the ages here these are older people. So anyway, it's a new disease that is struck in a different country, and as long as the Lord wants us to look for certain signs, and one of those signs is pestilence or disease, I'm going to give you that information as much as I can. Now here's another one, a little bit more information. Hospitals struggled to cope with the rising swine flu in Israel. It says 2 more people have been admitted to the hospital in Israel due to the severity of the symptoms from a H1N1 virus, also known as the swine flu. And here's a man in his 50s. You saw the other one was 80-something and 75. So just other news showing us what's going on. And then when you get down here, they give you more of the news like I read earlier, just a few moments ago, about these older people, 83 and 75. So just heads up on the news showing us that the Lord's words are coming to pass. Now here's a West Nile, another one of these diseases that I didn't report on yesterday. And this came out, as you can see, January the 30th. And it's from Washington. Mosquitoes may spread the West Nile virus via orchards and vineyards to birds, horses, and people, the U.S. researchers say. Now, it's definitely a problem, and it's going to continue to be a problem. The conditions are ripe for the West Nile disease to hit. As you can see here, this lead author, David Crowley of the Washington State University entomologist, said that roughly 1 in 5 infected people experience a fever, a headache, body aches, and in some cases a skin rash and swollen lymph glands. And 1 in 150 people can get a high fever, headache, neck stiffness, disorientation, and neurological problems. So there's a lot going on with the West Nile right now, and it's spreading as well in different areas around the world. So let me go back real quick because we're dealing with the West Nile, and you can see that it says that it's affecting the birds and the horses and obviously people. But when you hit the scripture, let me get back to my site. I want to scroll down a little bit more because I've been giving you new diseases that are popping up, mystery diseases that are popping up, killing the animals, the birds, and the fish. And you'll see in Hosea chapter 4, verses 1 through 3, where it talks about the birds and the fish and the animals dying. So when we read news about, for example, the West Nile and how that's affecting both the birds, the fish, and the animals, then you get an idea, the connection between what's going on. And what I'm giving you today is nothing compared to what is in my book, the documentation that I put in my book in the last Chronicles of Planet Earth, because there's a lot of information, and sometimes it could be overwhelming, but I did my research to show you exactly what's going on so you wouldn't have to do the research. All I did was make it possible that if you wanted to check out any of this information, you'll know exactly where you can go to read it for yourself. So I made it real easy for you. So we have the West Nile, and let me go back again. We're going to pick up. Here's another one of those diseases from the naturalnews.com. It says the U.S. viralists intentionally engineer the super deadly pandemic flu virus. Now, before you shun this as being some kind of conspiracy theory, better read the article, and I highlighted the most important part for you. It does go on to say that 2 American researchers whose efforts were deliberately re-engineer the H5N1 avian flu virus to be more viral and deadly to humans are now asking that a government-advised moratorium on the controversial research be lifted. Now, according to Time, the duo alleges that the precise details about how it developed the deadly flu strain must be made public, and that its controversial research allowed to continue for the sake of the public health. Further down, it gives you the names of these 2 scientists who were involved in this. And when you go down here, you'll see that it says developed a militarized strain of H5N1 avian flu capable of easily transmitting among mammals. All right? You'll see where I'm going with this. The natural strains of the H5N1, on the other hand, primarily transmit between birds and other fowl only, which means this type of flu was not that significant a threat to humans. But what it is a threat to, guess what? Birds and animals. And what did the Lord tell us about the last days, how the birds, the fish, and the animals were going to die? Well, put 2 to 2 together, and you start seeing ominous results of ominous tampering with flus, developing new flus that eventually kill off animals and birds. And you can see how these things, this kind of research or this kind of flu, could get out of control and spread and wipe out much of the birds and the animals. And I know for a fact that when we get into the book of Revelation, or anybody that is left behind after the rapture of the church takes place, the diseases are going to run rampant. And I really have no doubts in my mind that diseases like this H5N1, when they start mutating, is going to wipe out a lot of animals, birds, and fish. Or animals and birds primarily, because the fish are under the water and be hard to attract. But there's other things like the red tide that I showed you yesterday that are wiping out the fish and other weird conditions that are killing off the fish. But in any case, you see the news talking about these pandemic flu viruses, and we know that there's going to be many pandemics as we read from the book of Revelation. Well, many people will be dying of diseases. All right, so let's move on. There's another one that I want to, and this is the last one in reference to animals dying, like it's written to us in Hosea in the Old Testament. We see that there are 3 more of these elephants were found again, and most of the articles that I'm showing you about all these birds, fish, and animals dying, most of them are talking about mysterious conditions or why these animals, the fish and birds, are dying, and this is another one of those articles, mysterious dead in Malaysia. This is the total of 13 this month. It says the Malaysian authorities have discovered the decomposing remains of another 3 endangered Borneo pygmy elephants, deepening a mystery surrounding at least 13 such deaths this month. So these things are continuing, and when you go to my site and you click onto my book, there is a chapter there where I give you all the updates, all right? Everything that's going on. And it is a complete list all the way back from 2009 up to today of January 2000, or yesterday, 2013, the January 30th. So take, if you will, take a challenge, read my book, and if you don't see all of the signs that the Lord spoke about, I don't know what it would take to show you, because I've spent 36 years of my life documenting all the things that the Lord warned that were going to happen in this generation, and you're going to see those very events in my book as I documented the results of the Lord's prophecies coming to pass. So with that, just take the challenge, and I'm going to be making another video today about what's going on in Israel, which is really important. So stay tuned for that one. This is Frank Demora with the End Times Research Ministry Report. God bless.